Hey guys, Mustached Tom here to review the movie Evil Dead Burn. As you can see, I'm a little late on this one, because I didn't see any trailers for this movie, but I then spotted a review of it, so I figured, that movie's probably out now, and sure enough, here we are. So, again, apologies for being a little late on this one, but I digress. So, Evil Dead Burn is apparently a sequel, though the connection, I will immediately say, is rather thin, as we're following a completely different group. The only ties to the original movie are the Nomicron, evil book, Nomicron, or whatever it's called. And that's about it. But I digress. So, this movie has an issue that has plagued a lot of horror movies, and even outside of some of them, and that is writing a good core character. This is something that I have lambasted about in various other movie reviews, and now I have to unfortunately repeat myself, in that when you don't have a main character that you can particularly root for in a meaningful way, you begin to lose interest. Now, who we are following, she is Alice. And the two things I can tell you about Alice is that she's somebody's girlfriend and that she's French. That's it. That isn't enough meat on the bones of a character for investment. Oh, and apparently, well, not apparently, she is. Or we find out later that she's being abused by her boyfriend. That's something to grab onto, but again, it's not a lot, and I think it is trying to attempt to play on more emotional manipulation in that sense. When you have a thing like abuse, it does try to play on this idea that you can grab an audience significantly easier by just saying, oh yeah, and the character was abused. That, like, you can add on layers to the character. I would hope that writers can learn that that's something you can do. The abuse should be something that is conditioned upon information we already have. Because again, we do learn about the further abuse later on. And we do see glimpses of it earlier on, don't get me wrong. But we should already have a sense of who the character is. Who is Alice? You know? As a context of writing, why should we care that this fictional character is getting abused? And again, the shortcut is, well, they were just abused. See the problem? And I do think that that is something that I fear that has become sort of the recent sort of horror, especially in the horror genre, sort of vibe. Anyway, so let's get into the details of what happens in this movie. So this book is found, though told not to, via recording, so we already have sort of an issue here, even with our setup. At least I would say so. But I digress in saying that once that is achieved, the first of zombie is reactivated as somewhere deep in the water. We then cut to two guys fishing. Jared and Theo, I believe they are named. One is pulled away from a call, leaving the other guy to go fishing. The lures come out of the water and grab him and forcefully shove him into the water. Theo returns to see him already being, calling out for help deep in the water. He goes out there, pulls out only the upper half of the body, and is then prominently burned himself as the individual zombie makes her way onto the road to get hit. We then sort of have a flashback to our main group, I guess I would call them. So we have Alice herself, her boyfriend who owns the club, whose name is Will. We have Joe, who is related to Alice in some manner of speaking, I guess, and his girlfriend, whose name I don't recall, because I don't know if they mention her by name anywhere, but I digress. So we already see the beginning conflicts, as I had mentioned, of Alice and Will, as a confrontation happens outside of the club, as he's driven to this abuse, as he claims anyway. But in the process, we then, after the abuse is given, Will drives off, and he is the one who indeed hits that body. Flames up, and of course, with being in contact with a zombie, when you die, I guess it just sort of illuminates that and infects the next person, so now will be the next zombie. So we cut to the funeral, and the dad of the family wants to see his son, who knocks and attacks the father, then affecting him, the father. And I wish I could... The father seems to be somebody who is already sort of angered. That's as much as I can tell you about the guy. Again, characterization is severely lacking, but I digress. So, Joe recovers with his girlfriend back to the house after the funeral. Alice is with them. And the mom discourages Joe from the lore, I guess I would call it. All the while, the voices, because the dad isn't fully infected yet, but they are driving him to try to kill himself. We then cut to perhaps the most awkward family dinner you could ever achieve. Everybody's there, including a grandma, the mom, the father, and Joe, his girlfriend, and Alice. And his dog is sitting there as well. Speaking of dog is severely stabbed by the father, so the dog But the father, now being fully infected, also becomes infected. At a later juncture, anyway. So this is when the dad fully is taken over, and tries to kill the girlfriend. When they are, like, driving away. Because they try to get him, to him to a hospital, because he also got messed up in the process of this attack. So Joe is with them, and perhaps we get to see just how incompetent Joe is as a character, as his girlfriend is being attacked, and he, rather than do anything to attempt to help her, rather tries to escape, and does so successfully. So his incompetence is further dragged out as he sees his girlfriend be killed. Obviously, the girlfriend being killed means that the girlfriend will now be, at a later point, be possessed. Obviously. All the while, we then cut back to Alice, who found the book, and begins reading from it the first 3 words out of 4 that she's warned not to read, but does so up until that point, but then is attacked by the possessed dog. She returns first to the house because she was significantly closer, then followed up by Joe, who then also returns to the house. They barricade the door, forgetting that the girlfriend was still in the household, being taken over in the basement. She indeed proceeds to attack after the fact, when most of the family is distracted by trying to figure out what to do, and the grandma is left alone to deal with that. So the possessed dad is outside with the possessed dog. He proceeds to show the rest of the family just how immortal these beings are, as he shoots himself 3 times and survives this attack on himself. The barricade of the house proving a little bit more useless, as the girlfriend attacks from the basement. She then proceeds, after that, attacking the grandma, so that means she's going to be eventually possessed. But the girlfriend then proceeds to attack, or by oiling up, she's going to burn the house down just to find this dagger. The MacGuffin of the movie. She attacks Alice from the roof, the girlfriend does. And then we have she then proceeds to attempt to attack the other 2 who are still there. She gets Joe on the kitchenware that was left poured out, never hidden away. All the while, the girl bumps into now possessed grandma, who, of course, attacks. Joe, then finally having enough, does the overkill of the girlfriend. Once that's taken care of, Alice proceeds to ask information about where they can get this dagger, and he proceeds to start to talk about the book and how this all came to even be. Of course, the evil grandma moved upstairs at this juncture, manages to lure in the mom to let the father back in. She is possessed via kiss, I guess. I also guess that it's not just physical harm that can cause the virus to spread, it's also that as well, I assume. And Joe is pushed into a dead body, all to get the information. But he is attacked to the point of he will be possessed at a later juncture. Alice grabs a weed whacker, but is unfortunately attacked by the grandma via pen jabbing in the ear. She uses glass to retaliate, though. They're upstairs now, by the way, I should mention, which is where the dagger being mentioned is located currently. I forget the positioning, but I guess the attack of Joe managed to move upstairs at some point, because he gets dropped down. There are definitely positions of a little bit of... I don't know if the writers were fully... I think they were more focused on things happening rather than how things happen, because I'm a little confused how they got upstairs from where they were. Anyway, obviously the mom gets taken over. Alice proceeds to use the weed whacker on her, and Joe, then being pushed down, is then taken over. So Alice is the only one left, essentially. She ends up in the attic, stabbing Joe with various knives, ending up with the proper knife in hand eventually. She is relentlessly attacked, though, once done with Joe by the mom and dad. She goes up toward the roof, dropping the knife down, going up into the chimney, and then down it. She uses the weed whacker once more, and then ends up outside, re-grabbing the knife and stabbing the possessed dog. However, Will was never fully done, so he returns. He's been moving toward the household this entire time, off screen. Now he's here. So Alice runs off. They make their way toward this, construction site where Alice is pushed into this, I guess, pit of rhubarb, stuck to her leg, or, jabbed in there. So she has to get out of that. She then cups up both as tradition, a chainsaw, but she doesn't pull down the chainsaw because fuck tradition, I guess, on top of everything else. Instead, she grabs a drill because they didn't want to do tradition of every Evil Dead movie having somebody use a chainsaw. I'm sorry, but what? That's the thing. Even the previous Evil Dead movie knew about that. Anyway, I guess fuck tradition already. You know, 'cause fuck your roots sometimes. I don't know. Anyway. Obviously, she inevitably stabs him, Will, with the dead dagger. She gets a vision of old Will. Ah, the good old times. But there were never any good times, so she's like, fuck that. She then proceeds to get help. After clearing, she crawls out of that space. The police are just happen to be there, I guess. And they She asks for a cigarette. She's like looking down a lot while smoking, and then the end shot is her looking up as if she has been finally taken over or something along those lines. And that was Evil Dead Burn. There is a lot of issues with this movie, I feel, more so than probably the previous. Obviously, the lack of character is immediate. But even in the course of some of the actions feel a little bit unorganized, but it's seemingly in order for us to get some more spectacle and things happening. But when things are happening to, again, people we don't care about, that emotional resonance is missing. So, again, to writers out there, make sure you are writing your core characters first, and make sure that some of that actually lands in the final script. I think that is a given. Next thing is make sure when you are thinking of choreography is knowing where people are, because I don't think they remembered where Joe was at all time, because they eventually move him upstairs at some juncture, and I don't know if they thought how that ended up happening, or the father for that matter, though on that instance I suppose you could call upon the idea that the zombies can crawl on the ceiling, I guess. Though again, how Joe ended up there, I don't know, unless he still, unless he pulled them all the way up there, but I don't think we see that. So I'm trying, that's me, but that's me defending the movie, I feel, right? That's the problem when it's not there, especially. So, with that being said, I think that this movie, for me, scores a 5 or a 6 out of 10. It's actually pretty meh to, it's doing something okay. But I digress. That is my review for Evil Dead Burn, and apparently is a next one on the way on top of all that, so we'll see if they can recover from a pretty bland sequel. I guess this is a sequel. But anyway, if you ended up enjoying this review, then please feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. Also, make sure to check out those links in the description. One, I drove to my petition about small YouTubers. Second, to my PayPal. You can help support me, my channel directly. And third, to my Discord server. Join, collab, shields, all that cool stuff for free. And until next time, everyone. Bye-bye.